Hey everybody, what is up? It's Antonio. Welcome to another episode here on Gladiator Disc Golf. I'm so excited for today's episode because as you saw in the intro, we're looking at standstills and X steps. What is a standstill? What is an X step? When should you do one? And the pros and cons of each of them. So let's go ahead and let's get right into it. The standstill itself is a throw, backhand or forehand, where your lower body is planted. Your feet aren't moving to get into the spot. You are in your throwing position, okay? Your legs, your feet are exactly where you need them to be to execute the throw. On the flip side, the X step is where you are walking into your throw, both backhand and forehand. Okay? So, what are some of the benefits of doing this? When you take the X step or the walk up out of your throw and you go immediately to the standstill, you are faced with this challenge of trying to generate power behind the disc without building up this momentum through forward movement. So that's really one of the biggest benefits to the standstill, is that it's going to make you work on your form. The standstill is going to isolate that movement for you. You're not always going to be able to have forward movement coming into your throw. If you're up against a tree, if you're pinched off in the fairway, if you're leaning out with a forehand, trying to approach the basket, you're not going to be able to always walk up into those. And so it's super important that you learn how to throw without any forward movement with an X step. Okay. The con is that there is going to be a distance drop off with the standstill. The other thing that I have found to be a con for the standstill, and this may just be a personal experience or personal preference, but I really don't think I'm alone, is that I find it hard to get into a rhythm with the standstill. Now, this is something I'm working on because I've been throwing a lot more standstills, working on my timing to get the disc to do the work instead of me trying to feel like I'm doing the work. Getting the rhythm down is harder because what's nice about an X step is that there's that motion. Okay, there's that forward movement where your body is naturally coming into some rhythm. So now let's talk about that forward movement, the X step or the walk up for the backhand and forehand. What are the pros and cons of that? Well, first and foremost, you're going to get more distance. Like I said, with the standstill, you're going to be limiting some of your distance. You'll always be able to get more once you do the X step and add it to your repertoire. The other benefit is you're going to be able to establish a rhythm. If you notice, a lot of pros, both on the MPO and the FPO side, they have different ways of building their rhythm. You see a lot of people, Katrina Allen will pump her elbow up. Paul Macbeth, Kristen Tatar will do a little arm pump like this. Some people, like Kristen Tatar, will hold onto the disc a little bit. People like Chris Dickerson keep their arms down on the side. Okay, you start to be able to more comfortably develop a rhythm and a process for you to throw that you otherwise wouldn't get if you are only throwing standstill, because there's none of that forward movement to help generate some extra momentum behind the throw. Now, one of the cons, I should say, is that the X step can cover up a lot of mistakes in your form. So if I'm throwing at the camera right now, okay, and I'm doing an X step and I have bad form and I'm throwing like that, okay, there are a few things that you may have picked up in there. For starters, I completely turned my back around, and the disc, you can't even see the disc in the camera, which means it's directly behind my torso, which means I'm going to have to round. The other thing is I had, quote unquote, so much momentum coming forward that I went and came over my brace leg really before I should have. And really, you should never come over your brace leg. You want to be coming into it and having that brace leg hold your weight and rotating around it like that. So there are just three simple things right there, and there's a lot more if we were breaking that down. One of the cons of the X step or the walk up into the forehand is that it masks and covers up some of those mistakes that you otherwise wouldn't notice. And that is, so what should you do if you're finding yourself struggling with some of these things with the X step, with a walk up for the forehand? Go ahead and go to a standstill, okay? Whether it's backhand or forehand, go to that standstill and spend some time working on key components of your throw from the ground up. Even the forehand is using that lower body to generate that movement, that cascading effect I talk a lot about, okay, is coming from the ground up into the disc. Found it helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below. And if you haven't already, check out my podcast, Teach Play Disc Golf, here on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Until next time, everybody, have a great round.